do you have any topics that you want to bring up that are top of mind right now, or do you want to wait?
Like, I'm just excited. I guess I just want to kind of see where it goes. I do have some things I've been pondering on or processing, just like with career, with direction, with that kind of where do I go now sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of loved ones pass away here within the last few
Mm,
years, and I think that that's really kind of shifted me in a lot of ways. And so it is just kind of this big, like, what now sort of, idea. And so I think that's the big overarching question, but
mm-hmm.
it, I kind of wanted to see whatever came up for you, really.
Yeah, that sounds great, Amber. Thank you.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
Awesome. And sending you all the love for losing a lot of loved ones in a short period of time. That's a lot to process. As I said, I'm going to lead us through this. You can close your eyes. My eyes
okay.
are closed.
Hmm.
And when you're ready, if you'll take in a breath through your nose, whenever you feel comfortable, releasing it with the exhale. With your exhale, you're releasing whatever you're comfortable to release, whatever you're ready to release, whatever feels like you've had enough of it and you can let that go. And even as I'm saying this, I can feel this sense of there's some things that you're not ready to let go of yet. I don't know if this relates to the people that you're grieving, but I know that sometimes there's external pressure either from society or the world or even your own mind of, oh, it's been so many months or so many years, I should be over grieving this. And that's not how grieving works and how our emotions about people work. So it's okay if there's a part of you that really is still clinging tight to the grief and the missing of one or another of these individuals, because even though it may not feel pleasant to go through grief, there's its own process that it has. And I'm getting a sense of there's a part of you that might not be ready to be finished with the whole process for all of it, for all of the people. And that's okay. You can take as much time as you need. And every also, and since you've lost a lot of people, you might know this, but every grief sometimes can have its own way that it evolves. And it doesn't mean if you've resolved it for one person and feel still fully grieving another, it doesn't impact the way that you love them, the way that they loved you, or the impact that you each had on each other. It's just the way that you're responding to it, and that's okay. So it's okay that there's a part of you that is dearly holding on to things, and I'm not going to in any way push that to resolve itself any faster. And another deep breath. Okay, so I'm getting a sense that there's three beings that are going to want to share some things. They haven't really, the way it works for me, sometimes they'll make themselves clearly known, or sometimes they're just talking and I don't know who's talking. So we'll see if they're going to let themselves be more clearly known.
Okay.
So the first one is really asking that, are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your body? I get the sense that you probably are. So this might not be like a big revelation, but this is something that they're very focused on. And it's also reminding you of like kind of this health first attitude, like your health is first, no matter what. And I don't know if you feel like either your spirit guides feel that way or any of your loved ones who've passed on, but even though it's a belief that maybe lots of people feel, it doesn't often come up when I'm in session. So is this something that you're pretty strong about, health first?
Yes.
Okay, good, good, good. All right. Well, good. All right. So health first. Let's see what else they have to say about that. It's funny. One of my friends where I live has a business called Joyful Health. And I feel like in addition to this thing of health first, They're like transitioning to show me ways of being healthy and joyful at the same time. So they're showing me singing, they're showing me being outside and either hiking or doing something outside. Maybe it's running, I'm not quite sure. And that joy and health can be really intermingled for you. Is your way of being physically fit very joyful?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. I love that. Okay. So, okay, let's see if I can describe this. Well, I'm just going to restate your question and see, do they bring more clarity to this image that they're showing me? So asking for Amber in her highest and best good for this moment and right now, and for the good of all that there are, what is next? What is her next step or path or direction? What is the next piece of insight that would be good for her to have in her path? Okay. I'm sure there's going to be more, but the first thing they're telling me is forget and forgive. I don't know that these two parts don't relate to every single person in the same way, but they're saying both that there's people who, I don't know if they've been naysayers for you, but I'm getting this sense of there have been some people either in your personal circle or online who are negative about what you do or just how you do it or whatever. And so I'm getting this sense of like forgetting and just ignoring those type of people and offering them forgiveness. And some of it also might be maybe not happening right now, but it's happened over the past, I'm getting a sense of like 5 to 7 or 5 to 10 years. So this sense of, and not that you're actively consciously holding a grudge, but the benefit of you doing almost like a 5 to 10 year reflection back on the past and just going through. Ooh, yeah, now I'm getting all the chills about this. Going through who are all the people who I could offer forgiveness to? Who are all the people who sometimes it's like you might need to forgive them and then you can be like, now I can forget you. Or, and some of it might not even, not that there's, you might even think of instances where it's not even like lots of people you're thinking of, but just moments or occurrences that you just think, okay, like let's say in looking back, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to look at the year 2017 and you're thinking, well, I don't know if there's anybody I need to forgive or forget from that. That's okay. Just, you could just put this intention of all the things that didn't go how I wanted in that year. Like I'm offering love, I'm offering forgiveness. And again, I don't have a perception that you're somebody who's holding a lot of grudges. And also, I know that even if present you isn't, it's almost like there's things that have happened in the past that if you can bring all of that energy back to you right now through forgiveness, and again, the forgiving allows you to kind of forget. It's almost like some people talk about cord cutting or things like that. So it's almost like you're releasing any emotional hold that it has on you. All of this is going to bring so much more energy to you, and you're probably already somewhat confident in what you're doing. But what it feels to me, a big part of the forgetting is like forgetting that, how do I put it exactly? It's almost like forgetting that you ever had moments where you didn't believe in yourself too. And I mean, like anybody who's human, we've got moments all the time, even if we're successful, when you're going towards the next thing, there's moments like, I don't know if I can do this. So some of this is maybe present tense too, of really telling yourself like, I'm going to forget that failure is an option, or I don't know all the things that you need to forget. So this might be part of your exploration. Yeah. And I'm getting the sense too of, depending on how you do your personal growth or spiritual growth work, I would have 2 separate sessions. One that's focused on this 5 to 10 year reflection of forgive and forget. And then another that's really all about forgetting, like, what does it mean to me to forget all the things that could be holding me back, or forget what have I forgotten about myself that I want to remember? So really do a deep dive and maybe free write or meditate or however it works that feels good, but see what comes up, because I have this sense that moving forward, it would be really incredible to have so much more of your, not just confidence, but like all of your energy. And I mean, confidence kind of is the word. I feel like it's more than just confidence. It is probably also intention too, and self awareness of your great skills and qualities and the work that you're doing. And so by doing these 2 times of forgive and forget, you're able to bring all so much more attention and energy to right now, and then that adds to your momentum moving forward.
Okay.
How does that feel for you?
It makes sense. The whole naysayer thing definitely makes a lot of sense,
Okay.
because I tend to be a person that hangs on to the bad things that people say about me.
Yeah.
And it just eats away at me. And it doesn't
Right.
matter, years and years could go by and I could still recall a conversation or something that somebody said that was negative about me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's harder for me to hold on to some of the positive things that are said,
Mm.
because there are some, I know there are, but I only remember the negative.
Well, and maybe, sorry, I don't know why my computer keeps on making little beepy noises. It's new to me, so
You're
I
fine. I
don't.
don't hear anything on my end.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so maybe you can forget some of these things, and that this could be a new page that you're turning where you say, "Uh, from now on, I don't hold as tightly to these negative things."
Yeah. Yeah.
And sorry, I just forgot for a second what I was going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, because do you believe the negative things that these naysayers say?
Some and some not. It's more of a like, what happens is, well, I've got to prove you wrong.
Mm,
And so then I start heading down paths, goals, and achievements even that I never really wanted for myself, that I'm
yes.
trying to prove someone else wrong. Like, well,
Mm,
see, I got that degree on my wall now. You can't tell me that I'm not
right.
able to do that thing. And then I look at the degree and it's like, why did I do that? I didn't even really
Yes.
want that.
Right, right. Okay. And this makes so much sense. They gave me this image of, I don't, of a path that's like crooked. And I think that's fitting with what you're saying of internally, I feel like you're driven, but these people, it's like they'll knock you sideways and then the other way. And it's like
Yes.
you're still always moving towards the direction that is, of what you want to do in
Yeah.
this lifetime here, but it is
On the outside, I look
unpleasant.
very
Oh,
successful, like on the
yes.
outside, I'm a business owner. Like I look successful. Internally, I don't feel that way a lot of the time. And I think
Hmm.
it's because I've been following other people's, not necessarily their paths for me, but what they told me I couldn't do. And I'm
Right.
so like, well, let me show you,
Yes.
and I go do that thing when it really wasn't something that I really wanted. And I'm
Yes.
just now, over the last year or so, starting to think of like, well, what do I want? Like,
Right.
let me work towards that. And
Yeah.
there has been a lot of like, well, I don't know what I want, because I've been so focused on proving other people wrong that I don't, because that's become the desire is, let's
Yes.
just prove everybody wrong.
Yes. Right. Which, sometimes that's kind of fun.
It is. I mean, it's gotten me through life so far, but it doesn't sustain me.
Yes. And I'm really glad that you're looking for what you want. And I think it's going to become even more clear after doing these exercises. And here's the other thing. I don't know if you've done anything before with forgiveness, but a lot of times, depending on the situation and the person and how long we've been feeling something, even though it would be nice if like we can forgive someone and then whoop, we're done. Oh, one time I did a thing, a journaling or a meditation. It typically takes a few times
Yeah.
of doing that. And so, okay, I just want you to know going in that, for example, like if there's a few instances in my life and it took multiple times of, okay, I'm just going to sit down and focus on forgiving this person or this instance.
Right.
And once all of that is cleared, it feels to me like it's it's going to be so much easier to see what you want, because there's none of this, I'm proving so and so wrong, or I did this. And it also helps to remove some of this guilt, or I think that's what the forgetting piece is like. It, not letting yourself then have negative self-talk of, well, I did this thing for so and so and now I don't even want it.
Yeah.
I always try and have the belief of, if I made a choice in my life, even if I don't like all the pieces of it, it's part of what I'm bringing, in my backpack, my tools or whatnot. And so it's like, I don't use my degree for what I do right now, but that's okay, because there's something from it that's still relevant. And even though you did some of these things to prove the other people wrong, you're still getting to the place where you're saying, what do I want for me? And now you have all of these things that can impress other people. And so in creating the thing that you want, you have a really solid foundation that you're already standing upon.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And hold on, let me see how we're doing on time. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I want to say about that. I know you said you're starting to ask yourself what you want, and you're still a little bit, that's open-ended. Do you have a way in which you're doing that that feels like it's going to give you
It's
clarity?
yeah, it's mostly through you mentioned the health and wellness piece, and I've found that the more I move but my body, when I'm engaged in physical movement, is when I feel most spiritually connected to me and to who I am and to my guides and all of that. Like it's almost meditative for me.
Oh, yeah.
So I do a lot of just reflection and meditation and things like that when I'm exercising, when I'm
Mhm.
weightlifting and things like that. And so I've been doing a lot of that. I journal, I meet with a life coach, I do all
Cool.
of those things. So yeah, I've been really focusing this last year on what's next for me.
I love
and
that.
and
I
then
love that.
healing the other parts of
Yes.
me that have been
Right.
hurt through the process.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you're doing all of this for yourself. That's so beautiful. And I love my own way too of connecting is very heavy in moving my body and being active. So I can relate to that. And I also want to encourage you, because I also feel there's a lot of people, both like non-spiritual types and spiritual types, who they're not really into like being in their body or loving it or enjoying it, like there's some, and I'm not knocking them, but like some people, their spiritual experiences, get out of the body, get off the planet,
Yes.
ascend, go
Yeah.
somewhere else. And I'm like,
Yeah.
actually, the body's got some kind of cool features to
Right.
it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I just want to acknowledge for you that you have found this connection that you have, and you're enjoying it and leaning into it, and noticing and feeling it, because my sense is that wasn't something that other people told you to do. You know what I mean? That was from you purely. So that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I know that you're going to keep on healing and feeling good, because that, that's the way you're going. That's how it's going to
Mhm.
work. And that's so lovely. Aw. Well, we have just a few minutes left. I was wondering, can you share for the viewers how, like, evaluate for them, is this helpful for you? Or are there any things that you've gotten out of this that are giving you more clarity or
I think
insight?
it validated kind of where my thoughts are going with, I have been on a very solid kind of forgiveness path, and it's validating to me to know that I'm doing that, like that is the way I'm supposed to be going. And also the health and wellness piece, when you mentioned that, it's definitely something that is forefront in my brain, and kind of the direction I see myself leaning towards. And I just know it's been so healing for me, and so giving that gift to someone else is kind of what I think I'm going to be doing. So
Ooh, I love that. I love that. That feels really good thinking
yeah.
about you doing that. And it's funny. I don't know if this is a part of what you're picturing, but it's like, I feel like yoga studios are set up to have this whole like, ooh, it's for the yoga, the body and the soul. But like, how many gyms are set up that way? I've never been to Soul Cycle, so I have no idea. I just know they have
Yeah.
soul in the name. But I feel like gyms are very like high adrenaline, hyped up. I don't know. So I don't know if what you're feeling is something of like, what if we could have this cool feeling and be moving our bodies, but it's not a gym or a yoga studio, but I think that
Right.
sounds incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something I've floated around all kinds of ideas there, and I'm not quite sure. I'm a mental health therapist right now, and so I
Oh,
already work in helping people, and
yeah.
but I don't feel like that is specifically what I'm supposed to be doing. It's my training and my background, and I think it's helpful, but the whole movement of body piece of
Mhm.
it is really what I feel so drawn to right now. So,
Yes. Oh, well, I love it. And to me, a lot of people who come to me are trailblazers in one way or another. And that's also now what I'm getting from you a lot is this sense of I could see that you could create something that is so original. I don't know if you know the book Blue Ocean. Do you know that book or the
no,
concept? It's the idea of there are some businesses who create something that hasn't been, that nobody even knew that we existed. And it's almost like there's no competition because they just. So, one example from the book is Cirque du Soleil. It's a circus for adults that's really, just the way that they do it. It's like before that, there was the circus or adult entertainment, but it wasn't that.
right.
Or again, like I'm saying this, and not that I'm saying this is where you will go, but if somebody created a gym that felt like a yoga studio, but it wasn't a yoga studio, it was like a weightlifting gym. But I don't feel like somebody who is like the macho man who talks to me about protein shakes is like what I'm feeling. There's also like, I don't know,
Yeah,
affirmations and a place to journal and I don't know, something like that. Like
yeah,
I get this sense that you, by following this, could create something that's totally original, that is a little bit of these things, and that there are people who didn't even, like me, who didn't even know we wanted something because it was never appealing to us because let's just go with this weightlifting thing. Like
yeah,
it's not packaged in a way that makes me be like, oh, well, I'm all about that.
right,
But in
right.
another way, I could be, or therapy and weightlifting, who knows? Like this is yet to be determined. But
Mhm.
I get the strong feeling of with continuing to do your healing work and doing this forgive and forget and really owning who you are, you have the potential to go down a path that's totally your own. And maybe you can use the fueling of, I'll show you, but like, I'll show you that I can create something totally my vision, my
Yeah,
originality that
yeah.
speaks to people, that offers them this amazing thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can totally pick up on that. Yeah, I'm for it.
Oh, yay! I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Did you know that trees have intelligence? Most people, we have been taught from an early age to only think of humans as conscious, aware, intelligent beings. But if you've ever owned a pet, they have intelligence, they have emotions, they have a consciousness, awareness, experience. Trees are no different. Trees have an intelligence and a consciousness. This book, Talk to the Trees, is channeled words from the trees to give you a glimpse of how do they see the world? How do they handle pain? What do they think about celebration? This book is to ground you and reconnect you to wisdom, wonder, and calm, to reconnect you to feeling excited, invigorated, and nourished by the world. Because there's a lot that can be dragging you down, draining you, overwhelming you. And the trees want you to know that they are part of your community. They are here to love and support you. Get this book. You can order it. Go ahead and get yourself a copy of Talk to the Trees. You can order it on Amazon. You can buy a copy for a friend. It makes a great gift to show that you are thoughtful. It makes a great gift for anyone who you deeply love, who is either a nature lover or who could use some more calm, inspiring, awakening insight into their life.